Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Mom and I are grateful that you can join us for another week here. And today we are excited. We have Sofia Risberg on with her PhD. She is a former historian who started learning body talk in 2020 after taking courses. She has been intuitively guided to use that modality as a basis to work primarily with animals to help them find assistance with anxiety, trauma, ancestral patterns, and other issues that affect them. Sophie has been on a deep spiritual journey since 2009 when her father died, including adopting her spiritual name, to uncover the programs and beliefs that she took on that kept her from knowing and embodying her divinity, which we all carry within us. When she's not helping animals, she dives deep into nutrition and explores frequency devices, supplements, and ways to support her body to allow her connection to consciousness to flow more fluidly through her. So, welcome, Sophia. We're excited to
Thank
have you on
you.
with us.
Thank you so much. It is
So
an honor and a gift to be here.
wonderful. So I'm intrigued about this spiritual name. Can we start off?
Yeah.
I was there too.
Okay, so my birth name is Erica, and I took this class in 2021, and it was called the Sustainable Global Leadership Association. We're all talking about future casting and what we're going to see ourselves in 5 years, and meditation and how to be a heart-based leader. So we do these meditations and we get to like the second to the last meditation and it goes really deep and I'm like really, really present. And I hear the name Sophia and I have this visceral no reaction to it. And I'm like, that's interesting. So the facilitator, his name is Shlomo Shalom. Shalom, I can't say his last name. Anyways, he says on the like a week before the class is over, he's like, does anyone have anything they want to talk about before this course is over? Because I can't do anything when the course is over. And I'm like, I know he's talking to me. I know he is because he's psychic and I'm psychic and I can feel it. And so I call him up and I'm like, yeah, I have something. And he's like, what? I said, well, I heard the name Sophia in one of the meditations. And he's like, well, that's your spirit's name. I'm like, that's a big name. What? What? No, 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 that's not my name. He's like, it is. That is your true name. Do you want it? And I went, yeah. And he's like, no, 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 no. You have to mean it. I'm like, okay, yes. And he's like, no, I want you to really fully commit yourself to this. And I'm terrified, but I'm like, okay, we'll do this. He starts chanting. I don't know what he's chanting, but he has a picture of me, and I can't find it right now. It's a picture of me from here, above, down to past my root chakra, out to here, covered in light
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
while he's chanting it. And he gets done, and I don't recognize my birth name anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, it was trippy. And so, like, I hear my birth name and I still use it legally because I haven't been guided to change it legally yet, but I don't recognize that part of me anymore.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you.
interesting.
Yeah,
That
that
is,
is very good.
It was trippy, but
yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
I bet. So how did that play? Can you talk a little bit about your personal journey then of how you got to that stage and
oh
how
yeah.
kind of
So, I've always been spiritual. I talk to animals since I was little. Like they are animals are my friends. Like they're not different from humans. I got conditioned to think they were separate, even though I knew they weren't. And at 10, my grandfather died, and he was my best friend. And for 3 nights after he died, he sat on my bed to let me know he was okay, and it freaked me out because I'm 10 and nobody else was talking about spirituality because I grew up in Fairfield County, Connecticut in the 70s and 80s. So, like, that wasn't a conversation I could have with anyone. And my mom was like thinking about institutionalizing me. And I have a family history, like paternal mother or paternal grandmother, maternal grandfather both got institutionalized.
Wow.
So I know that's part of the thing because we're all super sensitive humans and we get overstimulated. So I'm like, I got to shut this down. So before I shut myself down, and I never did, but I thought I did, I heard I was going to be a doctor. I heard one of my partners was going to be older than me, and that my dad was going to have a relatively like moderate health and then have a tragic death. So I get my PhD because I don't want to cut anyone open. Because I'm like, I'm gonna be a doctor. Like, what can I handle? And it's not like cutting anyone open. And I didn't know about body talk, so I'm like, okay, what can I do? And it's like I love studying people in different time periods. So that's why I got the PhD in history, cultural studies. Um, my second partner is 16 years older than me. He's no longer a partner anymore, but that was an interesting journey. And my dad, at the age of 67, had got pancreatitis from drinking cider for 30 years, 2 gallons a week
Oh,
for
wow.
30 years. Not surprising, got pancreatitis and then got a staph infection and became paralyzed.
Wow.
And I was living in Washington State at the time, and I was flying back to Connecticut. And the weekend he was dying, he went from mom's like, oh, he's getting better to actually he's gotten worse to get on the next plane. And I'm like, okay. So I get on the plane, somehow I make it there. There's a whole comedy of errors of trying to get the car out of ice because it was sitting on the road and got covered with the slush, and then it iced over. So that was a whole thing. We get there, and I we get to hospice. They transferred him to hospice. We sit with him for a few hours, and I'm just like, they're like, don't touch him. He's got a staph infection. My higher self is like, this man needs comfort. I take my gloves off, and I'm just like going like this, Dad, you're loved. Nothing, just giving him comfort. And then mom just got exhausted, and we leave, and we're driving home, and I hear my phone call, my phone ring, and it's a hospital. And I'm like, Mom, Dad just died. She's like, what do you mean? So we pull over, and I listen to the voice message, and Dad just died. And I'm like, how do I know this? So we drive back, and my dad, his body's there, but it looks like a wax figure. And I'm like, and it doesn't look like him anymore because he's not in it. And I'm like, where's Dad? And I say that 3 times. I'm like getting more and more like disturbed by the fact that I don't know where the being is, but it's not my dad, it's this wax figure. And I'm like, it didn't even look like him. And I'm like, where is Dad? And I see and feel, I'm like, that was Dad. And he just scattered across the universe. And I don't know anything. And so that, like, when I got back from that crazy, like, awareness of, like, thought I was smart, I don't know anything. That's when I started coming back into remembering that I'm the small aspect of the big me. And I started doing meditation and the Silva method and just kept going. Like, this was like 2009. So from then, I've just been diving more and more deeply to figure out who I am versus who I think I am.
Mhm.
And around 2016, I started receiving body talk sessions, and I was fascinated by like going back to the 14th century and finding something that I didn't even know was part of my beingness. And so in 2020, I was gifted the opportunity to find out that my relationship was actually toxic. And so I started unwinding from that, and then had massive spiritual expansion because he left in the height of COVID to go to Maine, and we're living in Oregon. I had massive spiritual awakening when he left because all of it was waiting to come out. And then I got the guidance to start taking body talk classes. And then I took the second one. We're on a Zoom call, 12 people. The facilitator doesn't expand her screen so I can see what she's looking at. And she's like, I want you to work on this dog. And she's holding up her camera like this, but it's in one of 12. And I'm like, that's a dog. So I'm like squinting to try to see the dog, and I see this thing bouncing up and down. And I start this tapping technique called body talk access, and the dog goes from hyper to sound asleep before I'm done.
Wow, cool.
And I'm like, I'm in Oregon, dogs in Ireland. How? Wait, what is this? So I took 3 more classes, and then in the body talk system, they kick you out so you can get familiar with the practice. And you can take a course to become certified, but my team said, you already went through that. You have a PhD. You don't need to do that. We just needed to open you up. So the animal started talking to me, and I've been doing it ever since. And most recently, like this week, two animals want to change their names
Mm,
because they're feeling the frequency shift. One is a wild Mustang that got captivated or captured rather, and he was carrying the shame of his family for disowning him because he got caught. You're not supposed to get caught. You're a wild Mustang.
yeah.
You're not good enough. So like he had all of that trauma in his body and we were able to deactivate it. And then when I asked him about his name, he was like, I want a Warm Springs name. And I don't know the dialects of the Warm Springs. So his human found one of the dialects and she found two names for the word wind, which is what he wanted his name to be. And he showed me which one it was, and I can't pronounce it. But I was like, it's really interesting, like, because that's what he's feeling. Now he can embody his spirit more because we cleared that shame. And shame is like the lowest frequency you can have. So for a horse to have that, it was like, I get to help. This is like my greatest joy.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
thank
That
you.
sounds like a lot of fun. Body talk is very interesting. Can you explain to people that kind of don't know what it is, what it is?
Yeah, so it was founded by a gentleman who has since transitioned named Dr. John Veltheim. He was a chiropractor, a kinesiologist. He studied Chinese traditional medicine. Um, he did a little Reiki, and he had Epstein's barr, and he studied all these things so he could figure this out. And he's Australian, and one of his colleagues, when he was back in Australia, said, John, I just learned this thing. I want to show you what I learned. It's an Aboriginal technique. So this is going to be lovely to watch me go like this, swirl it around, then put it in your navel or on your navel, on your thymus, and in and around your left ear. That is called body chemistry. With him, he got his finger pricked and then put the blood there, but we don't do that now because that's not a sanitary. Not that this is super sanitary, but like, so it'll get bacteria. Let's see, I can't remember this. So it's bacteria, microbes, viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungi, toxins, allergies, and intolerances. So if you have, like, let's say an intolerance towards a
Yogurt.
food allergy,
Yeah.
or you have, like I do right now, I'm doing a parasite cleanse. I have parasites, so that's helping me clear the parasites out of me. That's an Aboriginal thing. So with John, they did it to clear the Epstein's barr. He had a fever for 3 days and then it was gone.
Wow. Wow. That's cool.
So he was like, I got to add this in. So, I mean, there's elements of the Chinese meridians and the five elements. With body talk, each body part carries different energies. So, for example, elbow, heartbreak. Liver is the seat of the soul. It carries anger. It carries storage. It's when it's imbalanced, you're not functioning at your highest realm. And you can be in like an overabundance of Chinese wood element, and you need to be more in the water element because water is more flowing than the wood, which is more stable. Um, and what happens is, like, I have, unfortunately, it's hard to see it, but I have this chart that I have memorized for the most part. Um, and the animal will come into my consciousness, and humans too, because sometimes the animals want their humans to like clear their stuff so the animals don't have to take it on anymore. They'll come into my consciousness and they'll just tell me what they need. So I don't really use kinesiology very much because I don't need to double check. The animal's like, no, I need this specific thing, and I just write it down. And my handwriting, I can't read my handwriting when I'm doing this. So I try to write really slow and big so I can read what I'm writing, and I record everything. And then there's in the system it's called a formula, but I don't go through the protocol. I go through what the animal asks me. So then we tap it in, one hand over head, one hand over heart, and then we alternate the hand that's on the heart down to the gut right above the navel, and inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth while I repeat the formula. And then there's a practice called cortices, which balances your left and right brain, that will help you integrate the session for your animal or you. Um, and it's really fascinating because like I don't know what's going to come through. And so I'm literally a channel for the animals to talk to, and they do communicate me with me as well, because like otherwise I wouldn't have heard the name, you know, I need a new name. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll just do that for you. Um, but it's really this fascinating combination because they respond to it so well. And last week I did a group session, and the group came in with multiple past lifetimes, that's 6 animals, of feeling separated or othered by the hierarchy of humanity.
Hmm.
And we
Interesting.
deactivated that. And I was like, I see that. And wow, I've never seen that come through in a session before.
So parents, I guess, pet parents,
Yeah.
just bring their pets then to you, and then you do the body talk on the pets, and then sometimes do it on the humans as well. In
If the human, like a couple years ago when I was first doing this, there was a woman whose daughter had a lot of trauma. She wanted me, the mom wanted me to work on the dog. Well, I worked on the dog, but then his human, the daughter, would come back with her trauma and he tried to take it back on again. So he never really got better because she wasn't addressing her stuff. So if that's the case, I'd like to work with both of them
Mhm.
Right.
so the animal doesn't have to take on as much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because otherwise they're just going to keep repeating that and pulling that to them because they're so loving and their souls are so open, I think, that they
Yeah,
just get that, they take so much on, I think.
they do. Although that is shifting. That is shifting. Their consciousness is we want to be more interdependent. Still loving, and but we get to be in a state of stewardship as opposed to codependency.
Right.
Mhm. As we all
Interesting.
should be.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. That's in the collective, so
Yeah.
it's a tough one to shift out of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is a tough one to shift out of because I think for so long that was such an issue. Not that it isn't now, but I think we're starting to adapt and being led in different ways that we're not being quite as codependent as we were at one point in our lives.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You recognize it quicker now,
Yes.
that you're going down that rough and rocky road sort of thing, and pulling yourself out of it before you get there,
Hmm.
which is lovely.
That's so good.
Well, and I think we all have our trauma too, right? Like us as humans, them as animals, and like I can totally understand where you're talking about communicating with them because when I first met my husband, I went outside and this crow flew in. I'm like, "Oh, hey, buddy," and I'm talking away to the crow, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm talking to the my friend." He's like,
Hmm.
"Your friend." I'm pretty sure he still married me, so I guess it was okay in the end. But like I do that all the time right now. He's used to it. But he's like, you know, he just laughs because he's like, it's like you're just communing with them. And I'm like, well, yes, because they understand us. And we need to be more open to that, right? Because I think so
Mhm.
long, like you were saying, there was that separatists of it.
Yeah.
They don't talk to us, and if you think they talk to us, maybe you need to.
No, everything I have rocks and trees and lakes talk to me. I'm like, okay. And like the left brain is like, that's really strange. And the right part of me that's like more connected to the Native American energy is like, well, of course they are. I'm like, yeah, it's just my left brain. It's the Western mind that can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
I think it all is in variation of where you live and that kind of thing too, with people and animals and that kind of thing. I know we were living in the mountains at one time, and I had wild turkeys, and they would come to my back window, and they would gobble, 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 and talk away from me, and I would talk way back at them as well. And the next year, when the spring came, all of a sudden, the wild turkeys are back at my windows, but now they have their babies with them. And so she's gobbling at the window at me, and I look over and I said to her, "Oh my God, you brought your babies to me. Oh my God, hi," you know. And And so every day they would come by my window, have a little chat up with me, and away they'd go, right? Then I moved out of that situation from living in the mountains to back into the hustle and bustle of a city. And I
Mhm.
would sit in a conversation with people trying to tell them this conversation, and they looked at me like I was on glue. And, and you could tell that they already left the conversation way before I was done,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because they already thought that I was something wrong with me.
I know, but like there isn't.
No, it was all being in the when you're in wilderness and you have the honor to be in their presence, in their abode, and when they welcome you in, it's pretty cool.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I was driving down to Weed, California from Bend, Oregon, which is where I am now, and Klamath Lake, which is like the second largest body of water in the United States. She was toxic, and she said, "Could you help me?" I'm like, "Well, honey, I would love to. I don't know how to." So while I was down in Weed visiting a friend, um, another friend gave me a crystal or a rock. I don't know what to call it. Where did I put it? Um, it's called a tektite.
Okay.
It clears it clears dark energy,
Hmm. Right.
not negative energy, dark energy. So on my way back, the tektite and my vocal crystal asked me to help Klamath Lake. And so I'm calling in and I can remember this every once in a while. This is not my normal way of being. I wish it was, but it's not. I called in my I am presence and I said, through the power of my I am presence and the presence of my vocal crystal and the tektite crystals, we are clearing Klamath Lake. And I just said that the length of the drive is probably about a half-hour drive. And I just kept repeating that. And a couple of weeks later, my friend Kate was driving up and I called her and I'm like, so, did you feel Klamath Lake? And she said, no. I said, could you tune in and see what you feel? And she's like, it's neutral. And like the little ego in me was like, yes. Because every time I've gone down there, like this is heavy, dense energy.
Right.
And she was just like, she's gasping for air. She's like, I want to be a free lake again. I don't want to have like this negative energy and this dark energy that's around me. I'm like, okay, honey, I don't know. Like, I'll see what I can do because I don't know what's going to come through. I never know what's going to come through. I actually prefer not knowing.
Yeah.
Um, and I regularly catch my ego trying to say I did. I'm like, no, 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 no. I facilitated through me. Because it is like when we surrender that part of us that thinks we can control anything, and allow that stuff to come through, it's magical.
Mhm. And it's hard to separate that ego
Yeah.
from surrendering, I find, anyways. And I'm sure lots of people do, right? Because that's just how we have always been, is to be like, I did that. I accomplished that, not that surrendering to whatever it is that you surrender to,
Yeah.
whatever your divinity is, right? And just say,
Right.
no, I'm like exactly what you said. I'm facilitating, I'm working through that. You know, because even this morning I was getting some automatic writing when I was journaling, and I'm like, okay, this makes no sense at all, but I'll maybe revisit this later when I have some time to just
Yeah.
sit with that and get the messages that is coming through with it. But they
Mhm.
don't come through if I had to put that ego in there and said,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true. I think Reiki helped me with that because Reiki
Mm.
is about accepting what is being given to you. So it's not about you and what you're doing, it's about what the energies are doing with you, right? So
Mhm.
it helped me considerably because every time I would think about the me ego, something would come back and go, hey, not about you. This is about what the universe is, giving you to help these people.
Mhm.
So it's not about you; it's about what they're giving you to help them.
Yeah.
So I mean, you really have to learn how to give yourself at that point and accept it, right? And say, well, okay, yeah, it's not me.
Oh yeah, I do when I do sessions because I have this whole protocol of like how I call it in, and it's going to get even more intense because I just built my first drum. So
Nice.
I'm going to
Nice.
use the
I
drum
want to do
before I.
that still.
It was so sacred. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
So like that drum wants to come into my practice. I'm like, oh, we're going woo now, are we? I mean, it's not that I'm not woo, but like my left brain is like, yeah, but we're doing quantum physics. I can handle quantum physics. Like but now you're gonna bring in, you have the crystals, but they've been proven in quantum physics to have properties like drum. No, drum. And I've been in drum circles and I absolutely love drumming. So the
Dude.
fact that I'm co-creating one for myself now is like, okay, we just got to stop pretending that the quantum physics can explain all of this, all right? Can we just do that? And so it's just really funny to like, oh yeah, it's more than just, 'cause I mean it's frequencies, so like I
Yeah.
get that, but it's just funny how my left brain is like, you're gonna play the drum before you record?
Oh,
Okay,
dude.
all right.
But it is so funny to me, like it's funny because I think when we become of our ego, especially when we do any kind of spiritual work, whether it's body talk or animal communication,
Yeah.
Reiki, whatever, you bring that ego in, it's like all of a sudden everything kind of shifts and
Hmm.
almost like
We have a fly here.
stops.
Hey, fly. There you
Yeah,
go.
almost stops because it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if you got this, you go, then you do this, right? And then when you surrender to it, it just opens up a whole new thing, and you get called to do different things that sometimes you're like, well, that was weird. I've never done that before.
That's
But
weird. Yeah.
okay, but you gotta trust, right? Like
Oh
this,
yeah.
I was cleansing
I
the house and I did my Palo Santo and I did my sound bowl because this is now something. And then I'm like, oh, I need to get the rattle and just rattle out the rest of the energy. I'm like, okay,
Do you? Do you?
I
sure.
get it. I so get it. Like I was shown in 2020 that this decade was me jumping off of cliffs and landing soft. The cliffs get higher. The most recent one I'm going to be doing in January is doing a backflip off a large cliff, metaphorically. And I don't know what I'm landing on to because I've been house sitting for 14 months, which has been a very expansive journey of grid work and uncovering aspects of myself that I couldn't have found any other way.
Right.
And I'm grateful for that, but I'm complete. I'm feeling complete with it. And I'm like, okay, so what's my next step? And they're like, oh, we'll tell you. I'm like, but that's less than a month away. And they're like, yeah, we know, you're gonna be fine. I'm like, I know I'm gonna be fine, but like that's the part of me that's like the controlling aspect that I'm trying to like unwind is like, but I want to know. I'm innately curious, and this is like, yeah, we know you're innately curious, and you gotta trust. And I'm like, a little hint would be good. I'd like just some
I'm
sort of like,
curious.
and they're like, and it's like, no, because the frequencies are shifting so much, we can't give you anything right now. So just surrender. And I'm like, all right, I'll just do that. So yeah, it's interesting because I can feel the frequencies. I know like whatever is going on is for our highest unfolding. I know that.
Hmm. It
Nice.
definitely
And
is.
it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's not a smooth path, right? Like, and we're always evolving and changing and shifting directions. And it's like, you kind of get going on one direction and then you're like, oh, well, maybe, yeah, that's part of that still is for me, but part of it isn't anymore. And,
Yeah.
it's questioning all the time of what is the right path for me? Where am I supposed to end up? And, when you have to surrender, it's the hardest thing. So, how do you cope with that, with trying to surrender?
Well, I've been this is good because like the hardest addiction I have is food. I love food. I'm a foodie, I'm a baker. I've been baking since I was 4. And with this parasite and heavy metal cleanse, I had to give up like pretty much almost everything I liked for like 2 weeks. And I could see the ego or the parasite, I'm not sure which it was, like telling me, you got to eat now. I'm like, really? Really, I do. Okay, no, I don't. So like mastering that because like food, man, I love food. And to like just recognize that I don't really need it. That's definitely my ego. That's my survival. It's very deep in the reptilian brain that I'm killing myself by not eating. Well, that's not true.
Right.
That's just an ego construct. That so like navigating that has helped me see like the other areas of like where am I feeling control, and like what I've noticed is so in the gene keys, the two of them, the penultimates, are devotion and presence. Those have been really challenging for me. So when I slow down enough and have my chai and I thank the all of the spices that went into it and all of the producers and the plants that grew it, and like I'm that level of presence, then the ego gets out of the way. I would love to be that present most of the time. It's a practice.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it is.
It is. Especially on this human journey that we're on, right?
Yeah,
Because there's so many environmental factors and
yeah,
we can't control everything. So
That's right.
it's very hard to, you know, be in that present state and remember to do all those things
yeah,
that we're either been taught or are learning.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's a dance. Like I when I was putting the intentions into the drum, I actually paused to listen. And the woman that was helping me, Courtney, she was like, "Why are you taking so long with the intentions?" I'm like, "Because I'm tuning in. Because I'm putting this energy into this drum, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the right energies, because this is going to be a sacred tool I use." And she was like, "Okay." I mean, she's kind of spiritual, but she wasn't like aware of like how I show up in the world, and so it's like really recognizing and remembering, which I'm still remembering, the power of intention and slowing down enough to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. That is very true. And I think, can you talk a little bit about that? Like how people could start doing maybe some practices to start
Yeah.
slowing down and start living more intentionally?
Oh yeah. So the two, well, this is going to be a little bit, all right, okay. Um, First thing, and I'm going to tease because this is something I teach, but one of the first things we can do is put our eyes in peripheral. And when your eyes are relaxed, see how far in front of you can look, and don't be constrained by the walls. Then see what's behind you without looking, keeping your eyes in peripheral. See how far you can go to the right without moving your eyes, and the left, and above, and below. What that signals, this is the first of the four diaphragms. And you can play with this. See how far you could, like, I can go here. Well, I mean, I'm using this, but like, I can see out to here by looking. Yeah. So, when we do that, it signals to our brain that we're shifting out of the pattern. Um, the second is when you swallow, because we have four diaphragms. The second diaphragm is when you swallow. The third is your actual diaphragm. So actually engaging your diaphragm when you breathe. And then the fourth is when you squeeze like you're trying to hold in pee before you can't, yeah, because you can't break out of the meeting. That's the fourth diaphragm. And when you engage all four of them, then your body really starts to realize, oh, you're paying attention to me. And what this action of distraction, of addiction that you've been doing is actually a call from me for you to start paying attention.
Mhm.
And like for years I had this quasi present practice where I was told by my former mentor to ask my body to show me what the story was. Well, as a former historian, one of my taglines was I can find anything. And it was crazy. I would be obsessive compulsive, like full on, wouldn't eat, wouldn't pee, wouldn't drink water, forgot where my car was parked, but I would find the thing. And so I turned that, and I've been doing research since I was 17. So at the time I was 50, because I'm 56 now. So at the time I was 50, and I turn inward with that research, like I will find the thing to my 5-year old. And she's like, you are traumatizing me. I'm not showing you anything till you take that away because that's scary. I don't like that. You're scaring me. And I was like, I'm scaring myself. Oh my God, because I didn't realize that bringing that level of like focused intent was making my inner self, my little girl, hide from me. And fortunately, I started learning this practice of like, engaging my four diaphragms so my body could get out of sympathetic mode into parasympathetic mode so I could actually like start listening to my body and the pains and the aches and the stories that it's holding in it. And for me, I've had trauma since I was 6 weeks old. When I was born with a dislocated hip, so I was placed in traction at 6 weeks old, and so like unwinding that level has taken a lot of effort, and I've gotten a lot of layers. But like my kidneys have been working overtime since I was 6 weeks old, and so to bring myself into a state where they feel safe and they feel loved and they feel welcome to express what they need, that's huge. Like I never thought I could do that, and I do regularly because my body will just say, "Okay, I need attention now," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm just dropping everything. I'm just going to drop in and listen."
Cool. That's cool.
That
Thank
is,
you.
Yeah.
yeah. So when you tap into these different things like with peripheral and stuff, because for me, I felt very, mm, I guess, centered and kind of almost like I was outside my body, if that makes sense,
Mm,
because you're just really focusing on really surrendering and just allowing that space. So is
yeah.
that where you start tapping in and your body starts telling you different things of like, oh, this
I
is
will,
big or this is
well, I'll say is it's like I'll ask a question like, what needs attention now? Okay. So in my front teeth are bladder and kidney. And I just felt my front teeth light up. I'm like, okay, so I'll just take the Chinese herbs when I'm done.
yeah.
Um, because like that it just wanted to tell me that. And so I can also say thank you. Okay, yeah. So like our bodies love having conversations with us, not in language, but in feelings.
Right.
And so like once I've removed that historian part of me out of the equation, my inner child felt safe enough for me to feel her. And so she knows she doesn't have to tell me any stories. If she's got a thing about control, if she's got, like, I got one of the dogs I'm with right now. He's a stubborn gentleman. He is more stubborn than my dad was. And I haven't had a stubborn being in my life since my dad died in 2009. So he started doing stubborn stuff, and I like visceral reactions. I was like, hi, rah, 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 like yelling at him. I'm like, I didn't know I had that. So like I'm losing it on him because he did it twice, and I lost it both times. I'm like, what is this? This is like so because I don't have like that kind of a response to anything. So this was like a full-on reaction, like triggers, like okay, crazy. And he's just looking at me like, you're scaring me. I'm like, I'm scaring myself. But this needs to be felt because I haven't ever felt this. I've never let myself lose it over stubbornness. I've wanted to, but I haven't. So like I'm not, and I apologized to him and I did some energy healing so he wouldn't take it on once I cleared it in myself. But like I had to like be present, like what is this? Like where am I feeling this? What do I need? How can I attend to myself? Because that's a reaction.
Mhm.
And that means there's a part of me that's hurt.
Mhm.
So how do I love that part of me? Because she hasn't been felt before. And so when I do that practice of slowing down, my body just feels safer.
Mhm.
And that's ultimately what we all need is like, even though we live in a crazy world at our core, our higher self knows we're always safe. I mean,
Mhm.
I got Archangel Michael every time I drive. It's crazy. Like nobody comes around me for like a half mile. It's really wild. And and I know that, but it's my reptilian brain that we don't need to go into why we have a reptilian brain, but we have a reptilian brain um, that is looking for fear all of the time. And so when the cortisol hits from the amygdala and goes down into the adrenals and the kidneys, um, we're in that state of hyperactivity, hypervigilance, and that I know this firsthand kind of ruins your kidneys. And so to attend to and to love and to respect and honor our bodies more, like what do we need to do to support ourselves with chemtrails? Like we need heavy metal detox, we need parasite detox. Our bodies get glyphosate all the time, whether or not we're eating organic food, it's just in our system. So how do we support ourselves to cleanse and to clear and be that clear conduit, open our pineal gland and just remember who we are.
Yeah.
It's the process.
Mhm. I love that because I think too, when we do that, like we have a reaction, like you were explaining there, to something, it is a calling from our own inner self to be able to, like, hey, just a second, maybe sit down, maybe, take that space, like you were saying, if people were to practice that, and you can see, well, this is why I reacted that way, because often I think we question ourselves about, like, why did I explode that way when there was
No reason for
really,
it.
that was out of context of
Yeah.
what the situation was. So I love that
Mhm.
you gave everybody that to help.
Oh,
Explanation. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think I love it too that you're talking about animals, because I think a lot of people are trying to reach out to their pets and to their animals, and we have that connection with them. So I think
Mhm.
when you become in that state as well, where you can kind of surrender, you are more tuned into these animals that we're with to help them along their journey as well.
True.
Oh yeah, and they are such great teachers. Oh my gosh. Like I've learned all about trace minerals from a dog, like that they need it. I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Of course you do. But like it didn't occur to me until this one dog said, hey, I need trace minerals. I was like, oh, of course you do. Because our soils have been depleted. Of course you do. And so like they'll teach me stuff. And I'm just humbled regularly because they're excited that I'm remembering every day, like, oh right, there is no separation. That's just the biggest illusion we have. So we're not separated from source, we're not separated from each other. That's just a program that we've been given to keep us from collaborating, from connecting, from remembering who we are.
Do you think that there's a point in humanity that we actually will remember this? Probably not in our lifetimes, but
Oh, I don't know, because I mean, we're getting a lot of solar flares. I mean, there's a lot of, people getting triggered. And I mean, my example that I shared before we recorded of a friend who just lost it on me. And I was like, yeah, that's not me, but the energies are kind of wonky. And I got context from an energy reader who's like, oh, yeah, you're going to see people triggered a lot this week because there's so many energies going on. I'm like, I'm just going to be it with the dogs this week. I'm not really going to go out very much
The
because I can
doctor is
feel,
out.
and I can feel it though. It's like, okay, but like to like recognize like this is our gift is like when we and being a former people pleaser, it's like, does that feel like it's an energy that I need to take on? And you can ask your body that, like, say, hey, body, is this mine? And ask your body to show you what a yes and a no feels like. And body will tell you what a yes and a no feels like. And this one was just too obvious. I was like, yeah, that's not me. That's not even close to being me. And I hadn't had that clarity before, but it was like so cool to see it because I'm like, oh, wow, I have grown. Because like I didn't see it before. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, that's got red flags all over it. I'm not taking that on. So, yeah, but that's practice. That's like years of me like being quiet and present and doing a lot of inner healing
Mhm.
um, because I love myself that much.
Yeah, and that's important, right? Is that we start recognizing that we should be loving ourselves.
Yeah.
That's like where we need to start from, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
is loving ourselves, because once we've loved ourselves, then we can do the surrendering, and then we can love more others more and show
Yeah.
up for them in ways I think that they need us to show up for them, right? What do they, because not everybody needs the same thing from us, right? And
Right.
sometimes it's like, I need somebody to listen to me. I need you to check in on me. I just need a hug. I need a whatever it is. I just need some compassion. I need you to see me, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
once we
think a big thing
have
right now is just the I need to be seen
Yeah.
because there's so much trauma that's getting kicked up in the collective right now. And, there's an opportunity to remember that like we are so held. I had a woman a couple of weeks ago tell me, "Do you know how many angels are surrounding you?" And I'm like, "Not a clue." But then I felt them and I was like, "Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot." And we all have that.
Mhm.
And we're not alone. We're never alone. That's just how they can control us is when we think we're and it's yeah, I mean, I would love to hug my dad again.
Yeah.
Really would. He's like, no, I'm having fun. I'm like, okay, fine, Dad. He's like, I'm flying off in another universe right now. All right, that's fine,
Right?
Dad.
Yeah.
But like, that's I think that's probably the hardest part of being human is like we are so attached to our 3D self and all of the perks and the joys and the wonders of being in this beautiful body that we have, this temple, that we forget that there's so many other ways we can connect.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
very true. So, if can you tell everybody where they connect with you?
Sure. The website is long, divine-love-quantum-healing.com. Or you can type that in Facebook. And on Instagram, I'm on Sophia_L_Risberg, and it's Risberg.
Perfect. Well, I will throw all of that in the show notes when we air this. And it's been just a delight having
Oh,
you on with us and
thank you.
teaching people these things that we need to learn, right?
Yeah.
To come back. So, if you had a final thought to leave with our followers and us, what would it be?
Mm, you are so loved, and you are divine. And in this time of consciousness, we are being invited to remember that.
Lovely.
Nice.
So,
Very nice.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it and all your wisdom to us and our followers. So,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And
Till next time.
yeah, until the next time, hopefully you'll come back on as you journey on. And maybe after you do your next jump, you can come back on, touch base, let us know where you ended up landing from there. So we'd love to
Thank
hear
you.
that story. So
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. And everybody else, we will see you on the next one.
Tune in.